I want to bring in now Hogan Gidley, White House Deputy Press Secretary. So I have a lot to get to. There's a State of the Union tonight. You have a lot of ground on the economy that I want to cover with you as well. But I have to because of the breaking news and learning that we could get the majority of results now from Iowa and the Democrats last night. Sure. Today at 4 p.m. Eastern, I want to just get the White House response.
Well, look, obviously I can't get too much into politics because of the Hatch Act. I can tell you in my former life, I was the communications director for the Rick Santorum campaign that was just mentioned there. And everyone knows the amount of front pages you receive after winning Iowa, whether it be periodicals or magazines, newspapers, et cetera, websites. You can't put a price tag on that. And if someone is robbed of that ability, that obviously is a problem moving into the next primary states. It's a little rocky and rough over there in Iowa right now, but look, retail politics, it's on display at its best and finest in Iowa. I'm from South Carolina, one of the other early primary states, and you have to do hand-to-hand combat with your opponents, but also talk to real voters out there who are going to be impacted by the very policies you're pushing. That's important. That's one of the reasons Donald Trump was able to win, because he was able to have those conversations. That's why he's in this building right now. We expect him to be there regardless of whoever wins Iowa, regardless whoever becomes the Democrat nominee.
All right, let's move on now if we can. The president is set to deliver that speech tonight. It should be an optimistic message, we are told, during tonight's State of the Union address. It's also expected to be a look ahead to the November election. However, the speech comes amid, as we all know, tensions ahead of tomorrow's final Senate impeachment trial vote. Some Republicans say they're hoping the president will turn a page and not talk about it.
I hope he looks ahead. If he doesn't dwell on the impeachment, in fact, it'd suit me fine if he didn't mention it.
My advice would be to move on and talk about the really great accomplishments of the last 3 years.
I really doubt he'll get into impeachment at all, but I would fully expect on Wednesday, when the impeachment vote is done and he's cleared, he'll spike the football on Wednesday. But I wouldn't guess it'd be tonight.
Hogan, I just want to first get your reaction to Republican senators there calling for the president to move on.
Well, first of all, as in regards to the impeachment vote, let's be honest. We just saw the Super Bowl, and you don't spike the football until the game is over and the clock is at double zeros. Just ask the San Francisco 49ers or the Atlanta Falcons, for that matter. So we look forward to that vote tomorrow and getting this all past us because the American people just deserve better than the partisanship of the Democrats putting their own personal political desires above the needs of the American people. But this speech tonight is about the great American comeback, where we were under the previous administration with massive rolls inflated at the food stamps levels. Also, joblessness, we're at bad numbers as well. Now, this president comes in and changes course, changes policy, tax cuts, deregulation. You see the massive influx of jobs coming back to this country in the manufacturing sector, the automobile sector. Everything looks better because of this president's policies, and he's going to touch on that tonight. Not to mention the fact the military has been rebuilt. We're a safer country. He's taken out terrorists. So you can expect a forward-looking speech, but also some of the accomplishments, just to remind the American people, without the filter of the mainstream media, of what we've been able to do in a short time in this White House.
On the economy and with regard to the military, the president getting a shout out from Senator Joni Ernst in Iowa. She kind of echoed those remarks too, but I just wanted to revisit what you just said. So don't spike the football. I take that to mean that the president will then not mention impeachment, just yes or no?
Well, I read the speech, and the word impeachment's not in it. Now, we'll see what happens, but I'm talking about the vote itself coming up on Wednesday.
All right. And then just to look at where the economy is. That, whenever we have these conversations with guests, or if I'm out with voters and we talk about how it feels to be in the economy and the record numbers among people of color and low unemployment and those sorts of things, on balance, there was also a huge number. It's called the deficit. And if you haven't taken a look at it recently, let's pop it up on the screen. This is problematic for anybody who's in the White House. But I'm wondering what a president with a relatively good economy is going to do. The projected budget deficit for the fiscal year 2020 is $1 trillion. GDP growth sits at 2.3%, down from last year, also a little bit lower than 2 years ago. We were promised 3 or 4%. Where is the president on addressing these two big issues?
Well, we've actually addressed them multiple times. In fact, the budgets we put forward weren't even voted on by Democrats and Republicans. It kind of languished out there. We offered some of the biggest budget cuts in history. We wanted a balanced budget. It was aggressive. It went to try and pull down some of those high numbers. But the fact is, you know as well as I do, the military was in disrepair. We are still the strongest, most capable fighting force on the planet, but the president wanted to rebuild that. He did, to the tune of $2.2 trillion. And every time we put forth a budget as it related to rebuilding that military, Democrats demanded dollar for dollar for domestic spending. That's a tough place to be, but you understand the political realities exist. When they had the House, they kind of held the cards on some of the issues as related to budget negotiations.
Economists, analysts will tell you that that is a huge weakness for us, though, to carry that much debt. So we'll look forward to how they can move together, because what you're saying is it's tit for tat with those dollars in terms of Republicans and Democrats at this point. A poll of fairness on the economy, fair to most people. Let's pop that up. 39% say fair to most people. Unfair needs major changes, 38%, so about even. And then unfair needs minor changes. Just when you look at those numbers and look at the man who's in the White House leading America right now, what do you say?
Well, listen, I can't believe it's not higher numbers for unfairness, because the media has been completely biased, with 93% negative coverage against this president, 93% negative coverage on impeachment itself, time after time, success after success. The media won't even cover it. Let's be fair. From September to January, they covered the economy for about 8 minutes. These are the major networks, NBC, ABC, CBS. They covered impeachment and Ukraine for 900 minutes. So expect any of this to break through. That's why tonight is so important, because the president takes his message directly to the American people, unfiltered. He'll go through some of the numbers. And I have to say, coming back after Thanksgiving and Christmas, a lot of families sat around that table and they discussed it and said, wait a minute. We're saving more money. We're making more money. We're spending more money. Our relatives have jobs. The prospects are looking up because of the president's policies. Expect to hear more of that this afternoon, early into the evening. And of course, in the speech, it'll be a centerpiece. And the American people will understand exactly how much better it's become. And they feel it. These are real, actual Americans who feel the real progress that this president has accomplished in such a short time in this White House.
Hogan Gidley outside the White House. The State of the Union is tonight. Good to see you. Thank you very much.